Ben Duggar, the husband of Jessa Duggar, has come under fire for not assisting his wife in the construction of a jungle gym. The Counting On star uploaded a video of herself and her 3 young children constructing the new playground equipment by themselves in their backyard. The video with the title "New Backyard Play Equipment" was uploaded to the YouTube channel of the mother of 3 children. All 3 of Jessa's children, Henry, Spurgeon, and Ivy, were shown sitting outside with their mother in the music video. With Ben nowhere to be seen, viewers watched the small reality star construct and lift the apparatus all by herself before their very eyes. Ben made an appearance at the very end of the film to take a look at the brand new jungle gym. Ben was criticized by his followers in the comments area of YouTube for his lack of assistance. For example, one person remarked, "I am just curious as to why Ben wasn't there to help at the time. At the very least, would he be able to keep an eye on the children while it was being completed?" An additional user commented, "Wow, where was Ben located? With 3 children, you accomplished that all by yourself. Oh, how unfair." One of them asked, "So, where was Ben while we were setting up? The mothers deserve praise." An individual who left a remark made a negative statement about Ben and stated, "Ben was inside the house while Jessa assembled the entire playground apparatus. What a slacker he is." In recent times, members of the Duggar family have been subjected to a significant amount of criticism. At the beginning of this week, the reality star family came under fire for hosting a gathering in the midst of the widespread outbreak of the coronavirus. The fans criticized them for not maintaining a social distance. A disturbing set of charges was made by Jill's husband, Derek Dillard, regarding his father-in-law, Jim Bob Jones. The reason that they have not been seen with the family was disclosed by Derek in an interview that was conducted without a crystal ball. According to what he said, "We are currently attempting to steer clear of toxic relationships for the sake of our family's health and recovery." Not only that, but Derek asserted that the decision to leave Counting On in 2017 was less about money and more about regaining control of our lives. The promise of togetherness. Jessa Duggar stood in the sprawling backyard staring at the massive pile of wood and tools scattered across the lawn. It was meant to be a fun family project, a labor of love for her kids. The sun hung high in the sky, casting a soft afternoon glow over the construction site. In theory, it was the perfect day for a backyard build, except for one problem: Ben wasn't there. "Where is he?" she muttered under her breath, scanning the area for any sign of her husband. Ben had promised he'd help, and yet here she was, alone with the lumber, screws, and the vague blueprint for a jungle gym that was meant to thrill their kids. The kids were out playing, eager to see the fruits of their parents' labor. Jessa's heart swelled with love for her children, but also with frustration. This project was supposed to be a shared experience. It was supposed to be a symbol of the Duggar family's togetherness. But today, it felt like yet another example of the growing tension in her marriage. She wiped the sweat from her brow and checked the clock. It was nearing late afternoon, and there was still no sign of Ben. She tried calling him earlier, but the phone had gone straight to voicemail. The last time she saw him was at breakfast, where he assured her that he'd be there to help with the build. The promise now seemed hollow. Jessa was no stranger to hard work. Growing up in a large family with many siblings, she had learned to fend for herself. But that was supposed to change once she married Ben. Marriage was supposed to be about teamwork, about facing challenges together. Yet lately, Ben seemed more like a distant observer than an active participant in their family life. Jessa had always tried to be patient with him, knowing that Ben was a good man at heart. He had his moments of kindness, of gentle affection. But lately, those moments were becoming fewer and farther between. Their marriage was becoming a collection of quiet disappointments. A noise broke her reverie, and she turned to find Ben strolling out of the house, coffee cup in hand. He had a sheepish grin on his face. "Hey, Jessa," he said casually, as if he hadn't just left her to tackle a project meant for two. "I see you've gotten a good start here." Jessa's eyes narrowed. "A good start? Ben, I've been out here for hours by myself. You said you'd help me." He shrugged, taking a sip of his coffee. "Sorry, I got caught up with work and, other things." He didn't meet her gaze, his eyes flicking nervously to the side. Jessa felt her frustration bubbling over. She had tried so hard to keep everything together, to maintain the image of the perfect family, but moments like this were beginning to crack that facade. "Other things," she repeated, her voice rising. "Other things? You promised me you'd be here. This isn't just about building a jungle gym, Ben. This is about being there for me. This is about being a partner, not just a bystander." Ben winced. The words stung. He hadn't meant to let her down, but the weight of the unspoken expectations between them had become unbearable. "I'm sorry, okay? I didn't mean for it to come across like I don't care. I do care." But Jessa wasn't sure anymore. The words "I care" felt empty when the actions didn't match. She clenched her fists, fighting back tears. "I need you to show me, Ben. Not just say it." He looked at her with a mix of guilt and confusion. "What do you want from me?" "I'm here now, aren't I?" Jessa closed her eyes for a moment, trying to calm the whirlwind of emotions inside her. "It's not enough. It's never enough. The dangers of public scrutiny." The next morning, the story had already begun to spread. Jessa had been scrolling through her social media feed when she saw the first comment. It was from a fan who had been following her family for years, someone who had admired the Duggar clan's tight-knit bonds and traditional values. The comment was simple but cutting. "Lazy. Ben's not pulling his weight. Why does Jessa always have to do everything on her own? She's doing a solo job while he's off doing who knows what. She deserves better." Jessa's heart sank as she scrolled through more comments. Some were supportive, offering words of encouragement and understanding. Others, however, were harsh and judgmental. They questioned Ben's role as a husband, insinuating that his lack of involvement in the jungle gym project was a sign of deeper issues in their marriage. The more she read, the more she felt a growing sense of shame. She had always prided herself on being strong, independent, and capable. But to the public eye, she was nothing more than a martyr, someone who was constantly doing everything while her husband remained in the background. She knew that marriage wasn't perfect, but she also didn't want the world to see the cracks that were beginning to show. The weight of public scrutiny was a heavy burden to bear, especially when it felt like the world was waiting for her to fail. As she set down her phone, she could feel the pressure mounting. It wasn't just about her marriage anymore, it was about how the world saw her. She wasn't just Jessa Duggar. She was a symbol. A symbol of what a good wife and mother should look like. And right now, that image felt like it was shattering. The silent divide. Jessa sat on the porch, staring out at the incomplete jungle gym. The sun was beginning to set, casting a golden hue over the backyard. The kids were inside, playing quietly, unaware of the tension that hung in the air. Ben had retreated to his office hours ago, and Jessa hadn't heard a word from him since their argument. The silence between them was deafening. She had always tried to be the optimist in their relationship. She believed that love could overcome any obstacle, that with enough effort and communication, they could weather any storm. But now, she wasn't so sure. It wasn't that Ben didn't love her, Jessa knew he did. It was the way he showed it, or rather, the way he didn't show it. His actions spoke louder than his words, and right now they were saying that he wasn't fully invested in their family, in their marriage. It wasn't just the jungle gym. It was the little things. The forgotten promises. The days when he chose his work over his family. The times he said he would help, but then got distracted by something else. Jessa had tried to be patient, to make excuses for him, but she was starting to feel like she was the only one holding everything together. The sound of the door opening behind her startled her out of her thoughts. Ben stood there, looking hesitant. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice soft. "I know I've been distant lately. I've been distracted. But I want to make it right. I want to help finish the jungle gym." Jessa didn't say anything at first. She wasn't sure if she was ready to forgive him, not yet. The hurt was still fresh. But as she looked at him, at the man she had married, the father of her children, she realized that she still loved him. She wanted to believe that he could change, that they could work through this. "Thank you," she said quietly. "I just need you to be here, Ben. I need you to show up. For me. For our family." Ben nodded, guilt and determination in his eyes. "I will. I promise." Rebuilding together. The following day, Jessa and Ben stood side by side in the backyard, working together to finish the jungle gym. The air was filled with the sounds of hammering and laughter as the kids ran around excitedly, eagerly awaiting the moment when the projects would finally be completed. For the first time in a long while, Jessa felt a sense of peace. It wasn't perfect. There were still challenges to face, still moments of doubt. But as she looked at Ben working beside her, she realized that they were making progress. Slowly but surely, they were rebuilding not just the jungle gym, but their relationship as well. The project wasn't just about creating something for their children. It was about learning to work together, to communicate, to be a team. And in that moment, Jessa knew that as long as they were willing to put in the effort, they could face anything life threw their way. The jungle gym was finally complete, and the kids couldn't have been more thrilled. As they climbed and played, Jessa and Ben shared a quiet moment, watching their children enjoy the fruits of their labor. "Do you think we're going to be okay?" Jessa asked softly, her eyes still fixed on the kids. Ben wrapped his arm around her shoulders, pulling her close. "I do. We just have to keep showing up for each other." Jessa smiled, feeling the weight of the world lift off her shoulders, if only for a moment. It wasn't about perfection. It was about showing up. And for the first time in a long while, Jessa felt like they were finally doing just that.